Okay, so I'm going to give you advice. This is mostly for those that are further along in their career and have money to go in and start and invest. Now, what I mean by that, it doesn't need to be millions, doesn't even need to be hundreds of thousands. This can even be tens of thousands, 50,000, etc. I learned a hard lesson. Unfortunately, I had to learn the lesson several times in my 30s to realize I've got to change my investing strategy. Many of you have already followed what I do in real estate, what I go do in that area. As I started to get really fascinated by the investing world, and I switched from who are the best investors I know and what do they recommend investing, and that's how I got involved in my first several deals. Who are industry tycoons that I know, and how do I invest in the industries they're in? Who are people that are investing and making a ton of money on those investments, and how do I go and invest with them? To just talking to other people that had money in general and asking what their investment strategy was. What that led to, unfortunately, was a lot of failed experiences. Friends, in general, do not know how to invest. The average person does not beat the market. Why? How do we know that? Because the market's the market. The market's the average. For every person that beats the market, you have to have somebody else that loses to the market. And that's in every market there is, whether it is they found a really cool way of investing in gold or in real estate or in stock or whatever it is, whatever market you're investing in. There's winners and losers. When you invest with friends and when you invest with family, and that's how you get your advice is because they're friends and you just assume they only want the best for you, which is true, they do. Or family because they only want the best for you, which again is true, they do. You leave out that core criteria, which is, are they actually experts? To beat the market in any form of consistent way, you have to have a unique approach, and it's not luck. And so even Warren Buffett doesn't recommend to his own family invest in his fund. He recommends doing broad, diversified portfolios. So what I did, this is in my 30s, is 3 different times. I invested, one project was $100,000, another one was $400,000, and another one was $250,000. Each of those, unlike the other investments that I did, they had one thing in common. They all went to zero or near zero. They were all recommendations by friends and family. Then what you end up to go in and do is, in my case, I had to go make a decision. I have to either stop investing with friends and family, or I'm going to have to stop caring about losing significant amounts of money. And that just wasn't going to happen. Like, I was in that case. I just chose, look, I love this person. They did not intentionally try to hose me. So I'm okay that I'm not going to make a return on that because I made a bad business decision in just assuming that because they were friends or family, their advice was going to be just as good as these industry experts that I had been working with. So my advice to you, and the lesson that I teach my kids as they're investing now, because I try to get them to start investing in themselves as soon as they're a teenager. So at 12, 13, they start building their own businesses. But then at 16, to start doing investment choices, I have them read the book Elements of Investing, which teaches them it's almost impossible to beat the market. And then if you can find an investment at the rule of 72, 7.2%, and you can depend on that, you're going to double your money every decade, that's good enough. Stick to those rather than going after pie in the sky. But the next lesson is really pay attention. Your friends and family don't, just because they love you, doesn't make them experts at their job. It doesn't make them an expert in investing. It doesn't make them an expert in money. You look at so many in Utah, it's basically a pandemic of MLMs where people go and they prey on that familial and friendship relationship to get them to go and invest, and we're going to make it big together. Their intent was good. The reality is you'll end up losing your money almost always. And so my advice, and this is the advice that I give my kids, is Stick to investing with industry experts and don't confuse love and care for industry experts.
For questions or suggestions, all you have to do is leave a comment.
This podcast is brought to you by Databased, your partner in building revenue teams that actually perform.